Yoga for renewal, clarity, and intuition. Go ahead and come into a comfortable seated position. We're going to use our blue lotus oil today. This amazing aquatic flower. Its petals open upon first light, following the sun's arc throughout the day, and then finally closing at sundown. The ancient Egyptians considered this process a symbol of rebirth. It also symbolizes wisdom, intelligence, and knowledge, and it's also connected to our third eye, our Ajna chakra. So go ahead and apply this beautiful oil on your temple points, third eye, wrist points if you'd like. I'm also going to use an amethyst crystal today, which also connects us to our third eye energy, or the realm of our ancestors and our intuition. If you don't have an amethyst crystal, just bringing the hands into prayer position, placing them at the heart center, just bringing the thumbs into the sternum area and deepening the natural breath. Now raising those prayer hands to the third eye, pressing the thumbs into that third eye area, or your Ajna chakra. Beginning to lengthen the natural breath, breathing in for a count of 4, retain the breath for a count of 4, and exhale for 4. Samavriti, equal inhale and exhale, begins to regulate the nervous system. Go ahead and bring the hands down to the heart center and releasing that crystal if you have a crystal. And we're going to begin a pranayama practice called Samavriti, alternate nostril breathing, Analoma Viloma. So placing the left hand in Gyan Mudra, pointer finger and thumb coming together. Right hand comes into Vishnu Mudra, which is middle finger and pointer finger tucked down into the palm of the hand, leaving the thumb and the other 2 fingers to be able to alternate the nostrils, closing off one and then the other as we do this breathing exercise. So beginning by placing the thumb on the right nostril, inhaling for a count of 4, very slowly, almost like you're sipping through a straw, bringing in the breath very slowly and controlled, and then retaining the breath while closing off both nostrils for a count of 16, and then releasing the left nostril, exhaling for a count of 8. Long, slow, controlled exhale. Then inhaling slowly for a count of 4 through the left nostril, closing off both again and retaining the breath for a count of 16. Continuing to focus on the point between the eyebrows, the Ajna chakra, bringing that energy up the spine to the third eye area, and then releasing the right nostril again, exhaling slowly for a count of 8. And then inhaling with control for a count of 4 through the right nostril. And then retaining the breath again for a count of 16. Analoma Viloma, this alternate nostril breathing, it begins to regulate our nervous system and balances the right and left hemisphere of the brain. It also begins to activate our pituitary gland, attuning us more to these more subtle energies. This is where our intuition is able to speak to us. Sometimes our spirit guides and our ancestors have messages for us, and if we're able to cleanse the third eye energy and open ourselves to these more subtle realms of information, they're able to flow in and give us guidance in our lives. These practices help to clarify and open these subtle realms so we're able to listen and hear these messages. So when you're done with those rounds of Anuloma Viloma, just dropping the hands into an open receptive position, returning to the natural breath. Now bringing our hands in prayer position again, up to the third eye area, pressing those thumbs against that point between the eyebrows. We're going to begin Mula Bandha or root lock. So you're drawing in that pelvic area, almost like you're raising that pelvic area inside like an elevator up towards the belly button. And then you're drawing in the anal sphincter muscles and you're creating a lock. This just concentrates the flow of prana up the spine, up to the third eye area. Releasing those hands, coming back to your natural breath. And gently opening the eyes with the soft focus in front of you. Spread the fingers wide, walking the hands forward, dropping those elbows. Forehead comes to the ground, lengthening the breath, staying with our Ujjayi breath. So our yogic breath is in and out through the nose with the mouth closed. The back of the throat stays nice and open. So it's almost like an ocean wave sound we begin to hear as we stay with our Ujjayi breath. This also helps to bring the flow of prana or vital life force throughout our body, out to our muscles, joints. Helps to oxygenate all of the blood. Now inhaling, we come into our butterfly position, pressing those elbows into the knees, letting the back round forward, bringing hands into prayer position, pressing the thumbs into the third eye area. This just begins to activate that energy center. Continuing to lengthen the breath into the back body. Couple more long, deep breaths, and begin to come up slowly. Last thing to come up is the head. Now moving over into a tabletop position, making sure our shoulders are stacked right over wrists, knees are about hip width apart. We're going to inhale, coming into cow. Tailbone comes high, gazing up. Exhale, press through those hands, round the back, tuck the chin for cat. And then retain the breath as you hinge back into an extended child's pose, lengthening the spine, pressing that forehead into the ground, grounding that third eye energy. Begin to lengthen the breath here, deepening your Ujjayi breath. Now, inhaling, coming back through a neutral tabletop position, curl those toes under, step up into a downward facing dog. Press through those hands, grounding down in, tailbone is nice and high as you lengthen the spine. Now, lifting your right leg up into a three-legged dog and then drawing that heel towards the opposite hip, opening up those hips, stepping forward to meet the hands in a low lunge position. Sweep those hands up so you keep that knee stacked over your big toe in the front. Hands come into Gyan Mudra, pointer fingers come together and come into a back bend. Inhaling back to neutral and then drop those hands on the inside of that right foot, coming into a high lizard lunge. So just rock that out a little bit, just getting a nice stretch through the thighs. And then walk that foot over to the opposite side of your mat, coming into pigeon pose. Or if you'd like, you can come into deer pose, bending that back knee. Inhale as you come onto the fingertips for a back bend, and then forward fold. I know my head's out of frame here, but my hands are in prayer position, and again, those thumbs are pressed into the third eye area as I'm just folding forward, letting go over that knee, over the hip area, breathing into the back body. Now slowly walking myself up. Last thing to come up is the head, again on fingertips for a back bend. And then sweep that leg around as we come into a nice spinal twist position. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, turning the other direction. Place that elbow on the knee, bringing that hand up into a half cactus and then reaching towards the back as we begin to twist the chin around towards that back shoulder. Keeping the chin parallel with the ground, keeping the spine nice and long. We lengthen the breath. And then coming out of the twist, we come around the opposite direction for one deep inhale. Nice counter stretch. Sweep that leg around again, coming into a nice strong plank. Engage your core. Coming down, hovering chaturanga, sweeping through upward facing dog. Drop your shoulders as you gaze up. Exhale, stepping back into our downward dog, tailbones nice and high, grounding those hands in, allowing those heels to drop all the way down into the earth. Inhale, sweep that left leg up, pointing toe, three-legged dog. Drop that heel towards the opposite hip and then swing that leg through to meet the hands, coming into a low lunge on the other side. Sink into those hips, reaching up towards the sky. Inhale, Kali Mudra for a back bend. Exhale, release those hands down on the inside of that left foot. Walk it out to the outer edge of your mat or your yoga area. Rock it out in a high lizard lunge. Now place the hand on the outside of that foot as you walk it over, preparing for our pigeon pose on the other side. Inhale, back bend, gazing up. And exhale, release, forward fold over that knee again, coming into prayer position with the hands, pressing those thumbs into the third eye area, lengthening your Ujjayi breath into the back body. Long, deep breaths as you exhale and release. Inhale, walking your hands back up, coming into a nice back bend again. And releasing, sweeping that leg around, coming into a spinal twist on the other side. Grounding in those sits bones. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release as you twist around the other direction. Front arm, front hand is in that cactus pose, reaching the back arm around you, keeping that chin parallel to the ground. Breathing length into the spine. These spinal twists help that spinal synovial fluid move up and out to all of our extremities. It helps to detoxify our organs, liver and kidneys. Sweep that leg around again, stepping into our plank. Engage your core. Hover down chaturanga. Keep those elbows glued into the body as you sweep through to your upward facing dog. Press through those hands, walking the feet into another downward facing dog. Tailbone is nice and high. Lengthen your breath. Now coming down, we extend into another child's pose. But we're bringing the hands into prayer position again, those thumbs pressing into the third eye area. Long, deep breaths into the back body. And slowly walking yourself up. Last thing to come up is your head. Inhale as you come into a nice back bend, placing the hands back behind you, opening up that heart chakra, Anahata chakra, to the sky, keeping yourself wide open, just receiving this beautiful energy that's coming in, all these subtle energies that are coming in to guide your way, bringing the hands back into prayer position. You can hold on to that amethyst crystal if you have one. If not, just bring it up to the third eye area and then drop it down to heart center, pressing those thumbs into the sternum, lengthening the breath, giving thanks for this time of renewal, cleansing, rejuvenation as we activate our third eye, our intuitive tuning in to our guides and bowing forward. Thank you so much for joining this yoga practice today. And may we step into a nice cleansing renewal, allowing the ocean waters to wash over us, bringing rebirth and a new beginning. Sending so much love and aloha. Namaste.